Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Football 11 24/7. I'm your host Jamie Carter. Basically, when I was doing the predictions for the week ahead, I forgot to chuck in the Premier League for the 4th of February coming up this Saturday. So I'm just going to go through those games that are being played on the 4th of February and what I think the scores will end up being. So we've got Aston Villa against Leicester, which is a crucial Midlands derby. Aston Villa are on a really good run at the moment. They've won 5 out of the last 6 games. Leicester City did pick it up a bit, but then they've fallen short, which has put them a bit further down the table. Leicester now lying 14th. When I'm looking at it purely on results going in, I've seen Leicester City have signed Harry Souttar from Stoke City today, and they've got one or two other players coming in that are going to help to strengthen their cause to stay in the Premier League, which I think ultimately, I think Leicester will do. Only just though. But looking at that game, I think it'll be too much too soon for Leicester. I fancy Aston Villa to win that 1-2-1, so I'm going to go Aston Villa 2-1. And then going on to the next game, it's Brentford against Southampton. Brentford's on a bit of a good run this season. They're doing really well. Southampton are rock bottom of the Premier League. Southampton need to get a result. But I think it'll be just too much for Southampton going to Brentford. And we're going to go for Brentford to win this 1-2-0. And then going into the next game, it's Brighton against Bournemouth. Brighton, a few people have been after their midfield player, Moses Caicedo, in the week, but he's not for sale. Arsenal had 2 offers rejected, one for 70 million. But Brighton has still got a really strong squad. They're doing really well this season. They're in the top half of the table, as we know, right in the Europa League places. And they're at home to Bournemouth. Bournemouth have signed a few new players. Vino from Roma, the defender on loan, and a couple of other players are coming in as we speak. But I think it'll be, too much too soon, if you know what I mean. There's not going to be enough for them in that one. I'm going to go Brighton to win that game 3-1. And then we got Chelsea against Fulham. Chelsea have just spent 105.4 million on Enzo Fernandez from Benfica, the defender that won the World Cup with Argentina recently. It's the biggest fee ever paid for a player in the UK, in England. And looking at it, could help Chelsea, but I think Chelsea, they're up, like I say, they're playing Fulham. That's a Friday night game, to be fair. I think Chelsea will beat Fulham, even though Fulham are on a good run at the moment. I'm going to go for 2-1 narrow win to Chelsea in that. Everton then's playing Arsenal. Everton have just been taken over by Sean Dyche, the former Burnley manager. He will make them tighter at the back, but I think this will be a game too soon as he's only just come in over the last week or so. I'm going to go for Arsenal to win this one 2-0. And then looking at the next game, Manchester United against Crystal Palace. Manchester United on a roll at the moment. They're third in the table, or fourth in the table even. But I think that Man United will have too much for Crystal Palace, and I'm going to go for Manchester United to win that one 3-0. And then Newcastle against West Ham. That's on Sky Sports on Saturday evening at 5:30 kickoff. Newcastle, I think, will have too much for West Ham as well. I'm going to go Newcastle 2-0. And then on Sunday, Wolves are playing Liverpool on Saturday. Going to go Wolves to lose that one narrowly, 1-0 to Liverpool. And then Forest are playing Leeds at the 2 o'clock kickoff on Sunday. I'm going to go for Forest to win that one 2-1. And Tottenham are playing Manchester City. And I'm going to go for that to be a 2-2 draw because Tottenham always tend to do well against Manchester City. And I think Tottenham have got to show, that they mean business as far as trying to get into the Champions League places. Yeah, so that's my predictions for all the weekend's action coming up on the 3rd, 4th and 5th of February this weekend. Excuse me for the croaky throat. So that's what's going on there. Latest transfer news that I've seen from looking on Sky Sports is basically, like I say, Enzo Fernandez is coming in at Chelsea. Now that takes them up to 600 million spent since their new chairman took charge, Ted Boehly, which is an impressive amount. How long it will take for those new players to gel and for Graham Potter, the Chelsea manager, to be able to handle all those egos, no one really knows. But I think looking at it, Chelsea are going to be looking good next season. Can they get into Europe this season? Possibly they might nick a Europa League place. But I think they've left it too late to get into the Champions League places unless Man United and Newcastle have an absolute nightmare over the next 19 games. I can't see it happening. Newcastle, they're quite a solid team this season. They've surpassed expectations. I think most Newcastle fans would have been happy if they had finished 8th or 9th this season, or at least in the top half. But to be lining third over halfway through the season is impressive stuff for Eddie Howe in his first full season for Newcastle. So, yeah, things taking shape at Newcastle. My brother will be happy with that because he's been a lifelong Newcastle supporter. As I say, I'm happy with my team, Forest, 13th at the moment. The game against Leeds is going to be absolutely crucial for Forest. If they win that game against Leeds, that will put them further away from the pack that are down near the relegation zone. Forest are only 4 points clear of the relegation at the moment. And if they win that game, potentially they could end up with 7 points clear, depending on what happens with teams below them. So I fancy a few shake-ups. If it goes according to the predictions that I've made, Forest will still be in a decent position. So, yeah, so fingers crossed. We've got a lot of injuries at Forest. There's a lot of injuries at other teams as well that I've seen. Manchester United have had worries with a lot of injuries. But personally, I said it in my last episode, I was doing my predictions of how I thought the season would finish. I am still going for Manchester United to finish second, even though Man City are 6 points clear of them. I think City are going to falter a little bit. I think they're not going to have a great season by the standards. I think they're going to finish third. And I think Arsenal will go on to win the title. Arsenal, they've literally just signed Jorginho from Chelsea today. So Jorginho, I believe, is 30 or 31, but he's a solid midfield player that can control the game. Obviously, he's a European Cup winner. He's won pretty much everything there is to win. So it's a good signing for Arsenal to strengthen their team. And obviously they put in Leandro Trossard from Brighton about a week or so ago. So that's going to help Arsenal's cause. I really think Arsenal will win their game in hand. And I think that Arsenal will end up going on to win the Premier League. A lot of people are saying it will come down to what happens in the two league games between Arsenal and Manchester City that are coming up in the next few months. So we'll see what happens there. I'm pretty optimistic. As I said, I think my team, Forest, will stay up. I think that Bournemouth will go down, even though they've spent quite well on the transfer window so far. And they'll be doing another episode tomorrow that's going to be covering the transfer window. So stay tuned for that. And whoever you support, have an absolutely fantastic week. And all those that like and subscribe, grateful to that. Please let all your friends and family know about us. And and we'll keep bringing the content for you every week. Have a great week. Bye for now.